a group of people. Leadership is inspiring people towards a direction. Leadership is having a skill set of leading a group so that they can achieve certain organizational objectives. Whenever we are talking about leadership, it is an interpersonal process which helps in influencing a people or a group of people so as to ensure that the objectives are achieved. And at this achievement of objectives must be willingly done. This achievement of objectives must be done enthusiastically. Leadership is not a lesson which has to be taught, but it is a quality which a person should possess, right? Not everybody has the quality of leadership. Only few people or only few members of a group possess this quality of leadership. The person who owns this quality of inspiring others, the person who holds this quality of leading others is called as a leader. A leader is someone who has a large number of people who follow him, take him as an inspiration, and lead their life. Some of the great leaders who are born in India, we can take an example of Mahatma Gandhi, Kiran Bedi, Sachin Tendulkar, Saina Nehwal. These are the leaders who have not only had led given a direction to other members, but these are the leaders who inspire others enthusiastically and influence them significantly. Leadership is an activity of guiding and directing people so that these group of people work together in achieving the objectives. A leader is a person who requires a good vision of thinking across the boundaries or thinking out of the box. In an organization or in an enterprise, you can see a number of leaders who are responsible for the work of their team members. For the achievement of a single objective, the employees of the organization are divided into teams, and each team is assigned a task which they have to complete within a specified time. Each team comprises of a leader who is appointed on the basis of merit or seniority or on the basis of qualities or attributes that they possess. In business environment, leadership is not only limited to persons, but it is also limited to organizations who can also attain leadership in the market by defeating its competitors. Leadership is not only in terms of people, leadership can be in terms of product, market share, brand, or cost whenever an organizations are dealing with leadership. So if leadership has to be defined, a leader is a person who has the ability to maintain good interpersonal relationships with his subordinates or followers. And a leader is a person who is capable enough of motivating them in achieving the organizational goals or organizational objectives. The importance of leadership lies in the ability of a person to be successful in achieving the organizational goals or organizational objective. The success of a leader is defined by his ability in achieving the goals of the organization. Now, leadership is important in an organization. Every organization requires leadership because it is important to have a leader who can lead us, who can guide us, who can motivate us in achieving the organizational goals or objectives. Now, the importance of leadership lies in the following things. The first one is initiating action. Leadership starts from the very beginning, even before the work actually starts. Leadership is something which begins right from the origin of the organization. A, a leader is a person who can communicate the policies and plans of the organization to his subordinates to start up the work. The first objective of management lies in planning the policies and practices. A great leader is one, or a good leader is one, who can communicate these policies, who can communicate these practices to his subordinates properly. He's the one who is called as a leader. A leader is one who motivates the employees by giving them financial and non-financial initiative incentives. See, a leader is not somebody who not always shows direction, but a leader is also one who motivates the employees, right? In order to motivate the employees, he can give them some financial or non-financial incentives. When if non-financial incentives can be appreciation, recognition for the work done, rewards, right? In order to get the work effectively done. So, for any individual's life, motivation is a driving factor, and a leader is one who provides such kind of motivation to his subordinates or to his followers. Not only that, leadership lies in providing guidance. A leader is not one who supervises the employees, but also guides them in their work. A leader is one who instructs the subordinates on how to perform their work effectively so that their efforts don't go waste. He is the person who is the guiding force behind the followers. A leader is one who also creates confidence in his subordinates or employees. A leader in an organization acknowledges the efforts of the employees, explains to them their role clearly, and guides them to achieve their goals. He is also the one who resolves the complaints, who resolves the problems of their employees, thereby building confidence in them regarding the organization. He is the one who motivates the employees to stay confident enough in the organization. A leader is one who builds a better work environment. A, a good leader should always maintain personal contacts with the employees, should also hear their problems and solve them, right? He is the one who always listens to the point of view of employees. In case of disagreements, he is the one who persuades them to agree with the suitable clarifications. So therefore, a leader is one who provides a proper work environment. A leader is one who provides a positive and efficient work environment which helps for the stable growth of both individuals and also the organization. A leader is one who also brings coordination in the activities that are done. A leader reconciles the personal interest of employees with those of organizational goals and achieves coordination in the entity. So, a leader is required in order to coordinate the interest of individuals with those of the interest of the organizations. Leaders are the one who create successors. Leaders don't not only lead, train, guide. Leaders not only show you the direction, but leaders also train their subordinates in such a manner that they can succeed them in future easily if in case of their absence or in case of their retirement. A good leader is one who creates more leaders. Leader is not only one who creates successor, but leader is one who also induces the change. A leader persuades, clarifies, inspires employees in to accept any change in the organization without much resistance or discontentment. He is the one who makes sure that employees feel secure about the changes. He makes sure that employees are guaranteed about the security of the changes that can happen, and that also without much resistance from the employees. A good leader is one who must have followers. A good leader is one who has good working relationships with the followers. He has a purpose to achieve. He is the one who influences the followers willingly but not by force. A good leadership is exercised in all the situations. A good leadership is a continuous process. So, leadership turns out to be very important in an organization. Very often, the success of an organization is attributed to its leaders. But one must not forget that it is followers who make great leaders successful by accepting their leadership. Thus, leaders and followers collectively play a key role in making leadership a successful. Next, when we talk about the characteristics of leadership, the characteristics or attributes of leadership are very, very important. These characteristics make a person unique. These characteristics make a person distinct from the other members of the organization. The first trait, the first characteristic feature, or the first characteristic of leadership is Leader has an ability of influencing the behavior of others in the organization to achieve the common purpose or goal. See, it is leader who can influence the behavior of others so that they can willingly cooperate with each other for the fulfillment of the organizational goal or organizational objective. It is not easy to influence the behavior of others. It is only a person who has the characteristic trait of influencing the behavior can only do it. That's the reason that person is called as a leader. So one of the main characteristic feature of a leadership is he has the ability to influence the behavior of the others. Next, talking about leadership, leadership is an interpersonal process. It is an interpersonal process between the leader and the follower who decides how efficiently and effectively the targets of the organization can be met. It is a relationship that exists between the followers and the leaders to decide how can they achieve organizational goals effectively and efficient. Not only that, leadership is an attainment of common organizational goals. See, every individual has his own goals, every individual has his own purpose, every individual has his own uh, objective to be achieved. But the purpose of leadership is to guide the people in the organization to work towards the attainment of common organizational goals. They bring an alignment of individual goals with those of the goals of organization so that organizational goals apart from individual goals can also be achieved. The leader brings the people and their efforts together to achieve common goals. That's the reason that is one of the characteristic feature of leadership. Leadership is not a one time process, it is a continuous process. A leader has to guide his employees every time. He needs to show them direction or monitor them in order to make sure that their efforts are going in the same direction and they are not deviating from their goals. See, it is not that the leader show you direction once and the followers follow it forever. No. Situations, conditions or circumstances throw uh, throw deviations every time. So a leader is continuously guiding, monitoring the employees so that they stay on to the goal or they stick on to the goal without deviating much. Today's organization system is in such a way that there is nothing called as an individual effort. It is a group process because organization is a collection of two or more people working towards achieving the same goal or objective. So leadership is a group process that involves two or more people working together, interacting with each other. A leader cannot lead without a follower. So it is a group process, but not an individual process. Now, when we talk about leadership, leadership is all about which is something dependent upon the situation. It is situation bound as it depends upon tackling the present situations. Thus, there is nothing called as a single best style of leadership. Leadership is something which changes with the situation. Leadership is something which is dependent upon the situation, which does not change with the situation. Now, when we are talking about leadership, the style of leadership changes according to the situation, which we call as situational leadership. Next, moving to the these characteristic features of leadership can be categorized as leaders are something which must have followers. Leaders must have working relationship with the followers. Their purpose is to achieve some common goals or goals. A leader is one who influences his followers willingly, but not with coercion or force. Leadership is exercised in a given situation, which changes from situation to situation. Leadership is something which is powerful, which brings the followers together, and it is a group and continuous process which the leaders must achieve. Next, speaking to what is leadership and managership, is leadership and managership one and the same? See, there is a lot of variation or there are certain major differences between leadership and managerialship. Leadership is something wherein leadership is a skill of leading the followers, or leadership is a skill of leading the employees of an organization by setting up an example, whereas management is an art of systematically getting work done through others in an efficient manner by coordinating the things between them. So leadership is individual oriented, whereas management is organization oriented. The main basis for a leadership is trust. Leadership is something which believes on the trust of the employees, or leadership is something which is dependent upon the trust of an employees, whereas management is something the basis for which is control. The managers of the organization try to control the work or the employees in order to achieve the desired targets or desired goals. In leadership, the major emphasis is on inspiring, motivating, or guiding people, whereas in management, the major emphasis is on managing the activities of the organization. Leader believes in getting the work done from the employees willingly, whereas management is getting the work done whether willingly or unwillingly. Now, the power of leadership lies in influencing the people. A leader always tries to influence, motivate, or guide the employees or followers, whereas the power of management lies in ruling the people. Leadership, the major focus is on encouraging change, whereas in management, the major focus is on bringing stability in the organization. While coming to strategy, leadership is proactive, which happens before something is directed or before something is started. Whereas management is something which is reactive, which happens once the things are done or in the process of doing. Now, leadership, the main belief in leadership is formulation of principles and guidelines, whereas the main belief in management is policies and procedures. Leadership requires good foresightedness or future thinking, whereas management has short range perspective. A leader is one who thinks about the long term perspective of an organization, where management is something which thinks about the short term perspective of an organization. So management and leadership are two different attributes which comes up with its own advantages or with its own attributes. Now, talking about leadership styles are refer to the behavior approach employed. Leadership styles talks about the leader's methods or behavior which they follow while directing, motivating, or managing others. See, each individual has a different set of attitude. Each individual has a different set of behavior. So they use this style, they use this behavior, or they use this method when they are directing, motivating, or managing the others. A leadership style is something which is a behavioral approach which is employed by the leaders to influence, motivate, and direct their followers. A leadership style determines how leaders implement plans, strategies to achieve given objectives while they are accounting for stakeholders' expectations and wellness of the organization. Knowing your leadership styles helps you provide adequate guidance and feedback to employees and to understand your thoughts better, how you make a decision, strategies you consider implementing while making business organization. Your leadership style will also help you to understand your direct reports that you see in, or your leadership style will help you in getting certain specific feedback. Whenever we are talking about the leadership style, a person's leadership styles determines how they strategize, how they implement plans while accounting to the expectations of their shareholders. Now, when we are talking about the leadership styles, there are various leadership styles. We are learning the 5 important leadership styles that are very frequently used in an organization. These 5 leadership styles are democratic leadership style, autocratic leadership style, laissez-faire leadership style, transformational leadership style, and transactional leadership style. While talking about the democratic leadership style, a democratic leadership style is a style where a leader makes decisions based on the input received from the team members. In the sense, a democratic leadership style involves their employees or team members in decision making. It is a collaborative, consultative leadership style where each team member is given an opportunity to contribute to the decision making or to contribute to the direction of ongoing projects. Though every team member is involved in decision making, the final responsibility to take up a decision lies in the hands of a leader himself. Democratic leadership style is one of the most popular and effective leadership style because of its ability to provide lower level employees a voice, making it equally important in the organization. It is a style in which we resemble how decisions are made in company boardrooms. Democratic leadership is a style which involves delegation of authority to other people who determine the work assignments. See, in democratic leadership style, the team members are involved in decision making, which makes the team leader utilize the skills and experiences of the team members in carrying out the task. The democratic leadership style encourages creativity, engagement of team members, because their creativity and engagement is taken into consideration. This style of leadership leads to high job satisfaction and high productivity. Therefore, democratic leadership style is something which might turn out effective to an organization. Democrat, the leaders who are democratic uh, have the characteristic like they are inclusive, they are collaborative, they have effective communication, they believe in empowering their followers or subordinates, they are supportive, they are empathetic enough, they believe on the trust and emotional intelligence of their followers. So the most popularly used leadership style in an organization is democratic leadership style. Next comes autocratic leadership style. Autocratic leadership style is a style which is completely opposite of democratic leadership style. In autocratic leadership style, the leader makes all the decision on behalf of the team without taking any kind of inputs or suggestions from the subordinates. When it comes to democratic, all the team members are involved in decision making, whereas when it comes to autocratic, the leader makes all the decisions by himself without involving the team members. The leader holds all the responsibility and authority for the decision making. He is the one who has the absolute power and dictate all the tasks to be undertaken. In autocratic leadership style, there is no consultation with the employees before a decision is made. After a decision is made, everyone is expected to support the decision made by the leader. This style is something which often creates some level of fear of the leader in the team. The autocratic leadership style is something which fuels an employee's uh, disgruntlement, right? Since most decisions are taken by the leaders without employees' interest. Autocratic leadership style is something which might not be favorable in all working conditions. See, whenever decisions are taken without employees' consultations, the manager might not be fully aware of what is happening at the people level, at the employees level who are actually carrying out the work. So, when those kind of employees who are actually carrying out the work are involved in decision making, effective decisions can be taken. But in autocratic leadership style, because those employees are not take those employees' opinions or suggestions are not taken into consideration, all the time it might not lead to favorable working conditions. But autocratic leadership style can be effective in cases where leader experiences knowledge, when leader experiences what do we call as uh, ex, experience about circumstances, surroundings in which the decision has to be made. There are other instances where it is considered as idle when a decision does not require a team input or an agreement to ensure successful outcome has to be made. In such styles, autocratic leadership style can be taken into consideration. Autocratic leadership style may be used in situations where the followers are not so creative or intelligent enough, or autocratic leadership style can be used in the situations where the leader himself is sufficient enough in order to take up the decisions. Now, autocratic leadership style is typically categorized by certain features, like in autocratic leadership style, the decision making is centralized. That is, the leader himself takes the decisions without approaching the followers. It is direct and top down approach. That is, the decisions are made at the top level and they are communicated at the lower level. Minimum delegation of authority, the authority is not delegated, only a minimum level of authority is delegated. Limited autonomy or freedom is given to the team members. The major emphasis is on hierarchy or status, and they are resistant to feedback or criticism from the employees. This is about autocratic leadership style. Next comes laissez-faire leadership style. Laissez-faire leadership style is a style which is accurately defined as hands-off or passive approach to leadership. Here, leaders provide their team members with necessary tools, with necessary information and resources to carry out their work tasks. This style of leadership believes in let them be, which entails the leader to step back and let the team member work without supervision, and employees or team members are free to plan, organize, make decisions, tackle problems, and complete the assigned projects. The laissez-faire leadership approach is like empowering empowering to employees who are creative, skilled, who are self-motivated. The level of trust and independence given to the team can prove to be uplifting, productive, and can also lead to job satisfaction. This style is important, but at the same time, to keep such a type of leadership in check, as chaos or confusion can quickly ensue if the team is not organized. The team can end up doing completely different things, which are completely different from what the leader is expected. According to laissez-faire leadership style, is something where the leadership is least satisfying and least effective. Now, when we are talking about laissez-faire leadership style, it includes certain characteristic features, like in laissez-faire leadership style, we have limited guidance, direction, or control. There is minimum interference from the leader or minimum control or supervision from the leader. High amount of autonomy and freedom is granted to the employees, and leader believes in the empowerment and trust their employees. Next comes transformational leadership. Speaking about transformational leadership is all about transforming or cultivating change in organizations and people. Now, transformational leadership is all about transforming businesses or groups by inspiring the team members to keep increasing the goals or to keep increasing their bars and achieve what they have never thought they are capable of. Transformational leaders are the leaders who expect the best out of their teams and push them consistently until their work, lives, and businesses go through a transformation or a considerable improvement. Transformational leadership is about cultivating change in organizations and people. The transformation is done by motivating the team members to go beyond their comfort zone and achieve much more than perceived capabilities. To be effective, transformational leaders should possess high levels of integrity, emotional intelligence, a shared vision of future, empathy, and good communication skills. Transformational leaders are the leaders who gain the trust and confidence of their teams, encourage team members, and lead employees towards meeting company goals. Transformational leadership is one which always improves upon companies' conventions and motivates employees to grow and further develop their skills. When speaking about transformational leadership style is often associated with high growth oriented organizations that push boundaries in innovations and productivity. Transformational leaders tend to give employees tasks that grow in difficulty and deadlines that keep getting tighter as time progresses. Next comes transactional leadership. Transactional leadership is more short term and can be best described as give and take kind of transactions. Team members agree to follow their leader on job acceptance. Therefore, it is a transaction involving payment for services rendered. Employees are rewarded for exactly the work they have performed. If you meet a certain target, you receive the bonus that you have been promised. It is specially for those kind of leaders who work with sales and marketing jobs. While talking about transactional leadership, in transactional leadership, the leader establishes roles and responsibilities for each team member and encourages the work to be completed. These are instances where incentive programs can be employed over and above their regular pay. In addition to the incentives, there are also penalties imposed to regulate how work should be done. Now, when we are talking about transactional leadership is more direct way of leadership that eliminates confusion between leader and subordinates, and the tasks are clearly spelled out by the leader. However, due to its rigid environment and direct expectations, it may curb creativity and innovation. Transactional leadership is something which is based on reward and punishment to motivate and direct the behavior. In transactional leadership, managers set specific rules and standards and they closely monitor their employees' performance. They tell employees they can expect rewards if the goal is met. However, they may require check ins if the people aren't meeting the goals. This leadership style is concerned with maintaining the status quo and ensuring that the predetermined goals and standards are met. It also assumes that the teams need structure and monitor to meet the business goals. They are reward motivated so that the goals can be achieved. Now, what are the key differences or the variations between transactional and transformational leadership? See, when it comes to transactional leadership is a style of leadership whereby the rewards and punishments are used as a basis for initiating, as the basis for getting the work done by the followers. Whereas when it comes to transformational leadership is a style in which the leader uses his charisma or enthusiasm to influence his followers. In transactional leadership, a leader lays stress on relationship with followers, whereas in transformational leadership, the leader lays stress on values, beliefs, and needs of his followers. Transactional leadership is reactive, whereas transformational leadership is proactive. Transactional leadership is best for the settled environment, whereas transformational leadership can be considered good for a turbulent environment. Transactional leadership works for improving the present conditions of the organizations, whereas transformational leadership is one which works for changing the present conditions of the organizations. Transactional leadership is bureaucratic in nature, whereas transformational leadership is charismatic in nature. In transactional leadership, there is only one leader in a group, whereas in transformational leadership, there can be more than one leader in a group. Transactional leadership is focused towards planning and execution when compared to transformational leadership, which is promoted innovation. While coming to the leadership skills are the skills which the leader should possess, which includes the abilities, strengths shown by people in management roles, which help in guiding and encouraging a group of people and their team towards achieving a common goal or set of goals. Leadership skills are very, very important for a leader, right? In order to resolve the conflicts, in order to make certain decisions, in order to do certain things, leadership is very, very important. Now, what are the skill sets which are needed in order to be a good leader? Are the first skill that a good leader should have is communication. A good leader is one who is able to clearly explain everything from expectations to goals and tasks to his subordinates or his followers. It is important to establish open communication between the leader and his team members. By this, you create a positive work environment which is transparent. Excellent communication is considered to be one of the important skill that a leader should have. Next, a good leader should have good negotiation skills. Negotiation involves two or more parties engaging in a conversation in order to find a solution that is acceptable to all the parties. As a result, persons who are negotiating might reach a formal agreement, which such as contract or a less formal verbal agreement. So if you are a leader, you need to have a good negotiation skills so that you can foster a sense of fairness and equality, allowing all the parties to be heard. Effective negotiation skills involves understanding the interest of all the involved parties and working to reach a solution that satisfies one's reason. Now, negotiation skills are one of the important thing that a leader should have. The next important skill that a leader should have is conflict resolution. Girls, leaders are the ones who don't avoid conflicts, but leaders are the one who understand how to avoid disputes, or if the disputes arise, how how capable you are, how able you are to resolve them quickly. A good leader is one who maintains his composure and makes thoughtful decisions while handling disputes or disagreements. It is very, very important for a good leader to have good conflict resolution skills, because organization is made up of group of people who come up with different attitudes and behavior. Bringing them onto the common platform involves conflicts. So conflict resolution is one of the important skill that a leader needs to have. Adaptability is one of the important skill that a leader should possess. As an adaptable leader, one can adjust their behavior in response to situational change. Whenever there is a change in the organization, a leader is one who quickly gets adapted to the change. If a leader is resilient when things don't go as per expected, and recover quickly from setbacks by viewing them as an opportunity to grow. You show the ability in your leadership by being flexible and adjusting to the changing environments and conditions whenever necessary. One of the essential leadership skill that a leader needs to possess is critical thinking. Whenever we are talking about critical thinking, it is analyzing the information to fully comprehend an issue or topic. The steps of critical thinking process often believes in gathering facts and data, posing deliberate queries, and examining the potential answers. Critical thinking is an important component of decision making, right? It can be helpful in determining the nature of conflict and appropriate cause of action. So a good leader should have critical thinking abilities. A good leader is one who has an effective decision making capability. Leaders who make effective decisions benefit themselves, their team members, the stakeholders of the organization. Decision making allows a leader to identify the problems and develop solutions which are advantageous to the business. Decision making by the leaders must always be fair enough and should be objective and should use appropriate language while communicating, which is an important skill of leadership. A good leader should also have problem solving skills. A good leader is one who foresees the issues of the organization or workplace, defines the problem, identifies the reason or cause behind it, develop a plan of action to provide a solution or remedy to the problem. Viewing and presenting issues as an opportunities can be benefit to a leader. A good leader should always have that problem solving skills. Apart from that, a good leader should also have the relationship building capabilities. Without understanding people, leaders cannot guide them, leaders cannot effectively lead them. So the ability to establish relationships is necessary for an effective leader. It is very, very important that if you want your employees to be happier at their workplace, you need to have a relationship with them, uh, with the superiors and subordinates, so that this building can lead to happier workplace. Not only that, a good leader should also have the skills regarding time management, trust, creativity, strategic approach, and should also be self-aware of what what he is doing, what the decision making process is, and things like that. The sources of power in leadership is very, very important. Power is something which can be derived from various sources. Like you can get power because of your expertise, you can get power because of your authority, you can get power because of your relationships, rewards, and coercive means also. These sources form the foundation of power and determine the potential influence a leader can have. Leaders must recognize and leverage these sources to effectively exert their influence. Power is something, in today's dynamic and competitive business environment, effective leadership is crucial for success. One of the key aspects of effective leadership is understanding the various sources of power that a leader can use in order to influence others. Now, the various powers or the various sources of power include referent power, expert power, legitimate power, coercive power, and reward power. Now, coming to referent power is a type of power that is that comes or built or that is built upon admiration, respect, and trust that others have on a leader. Referent power is a power which is categorized by charisma or the ability of a leader to inspire or motivate others. In referent power, leader with role models influence their followers through their values, beliefs, and behavior. This power helps in fostering a positive work environment. Next comes expert power. Expert power is derived from a leader's knowledge. See, where are you deriving that power from, or what is the source of that power determines what kind of power it is. If you are deriving the power from the charisma power, from the knowledge, expertise, and skills that a leader has, we call it as an expert power. Leader, leaders with expert power are credible and competent. Their opinions and decisions carry a lot of weight. Their valuable insights and experience make them influential figures within their respective fields. Expert power is something which allows the leaders to influence others through their knowledge, right? They are the leaders who believe in continuous learning and growth. Next comes legitimate power. Legitimate power is a power which is derived from a leader's position or role within an organization. If legitimate power has to be defined, it is a power which comes with a formal authority. It is a power which has a right to make demands or give orders. Leaders with legitimate power can enforce rules and policies. Leaders with legitimate powers can allocate resources and can make important decisions. This power is something which is built upon the hierarchical structure of the organization or the position that a person has in an organization. Next comes coercive power. Coercive power is a power in which the leader has the ability to control or restrain others either through fear, punishment, or negative consequences. This power relies on the use of coercive tactics that a leader uses to influence others. While this type of power is short term, it creates negative impression on a follower. Effective leaders are the leaders who understand what are the limitations of the coercive power and use it sparingly or use it whenever needed. So when the power comes out of a fear of another person, when a person comes out of a fear due to the other person, we call it as a coercive power. And the last power is reward power. Reward power is a power which is based on a leader's ability to provide rewards and incentives. It is completely opposite to coercive. In coercive, we follow the power because of punishments or fear. In reward power, we follow the leader because of the rewards or incentives that he uses in order to influence the others. It is a power to recognize, reward the achievements, which can motivate either individuals or teams to perform their best. Leaders with reward power distribute resources, provide growth opportunities, and create a positive work environment for their followers. Now, when these powers, when derived from leaders, every follower follow a certain leader either out of cohesiveness, either out of rewardness, or either out of legitimate, or either because of referent, or either because of what you call as expert power. Now there are a lot of theories which determine the leadership. There are theories which tells us what are the leadership styles that can be that a leader can use or that the leader can follow, right, in certain things. Now when we are talking about the style of leaderships, the style of leaderships, in leadership styles we have various styles, like we have great man theory, we have trait theory, we have behavioral theories, we have contingency theory, and we have situation theories. These are the theories which tells us about the leadership. Now, first speaking about the great man theory. According to the great man theory, it believes in the aspect that leaders are not born, but leaders are made. It believes in the concept that no individual is born as a leader, but an individual becomes leader either out of situations or either out of the skills or inherent characteristics that he has. Great man theory lays emphasis that a person is born or born with or without necessary leadership skills or traits, but he becomes a leader because of the traits that he learned. The early explanations of leadership studied that the traits of great leaders as great man theory, like Gandhi, Nicolin, or Napoleon, are the leaders who have come up with these traits. This theory believes that people are born with traits and only the great people possessed them. But this great man theory believes in the concept that people are not born with traits, but people learn or acquire these traits in the process of evolving. The great man theory approach actually lays emphasis on charismatic leadership, charismatic leaderships in which you believe in the charisma or you believe in the gift of charisma that a person has. No matter what group such a national leader finds himself in, he will always be recognized for what he is. See, a charismatic leader might be in any group. but he can be found out because of his charisma. According to the great man theory of leadership, leadership calls for certain qualities, like you need to have the qualities of commanding, you need to have a personality, charismatic personality, you need to have that courage, you need to have that emotional intelligence, you need to have that perseverance and aggressiveness in order to become a leader. Then only you can become a leader. So, according to great man theory, every individual is born in the same manner, but you become a leader when you learn these characteristic traits, or when you own these characteristic traits in the process of evolving. Next comes the trait theory. The trait theory is also a theory which is based on the great man theory, but it is explained in a more systematic way of in its analysis of leader. Like great man theory, this theory also assumes that leaders have certain personal traits which are very, very important for their leadership success. A trait theory believes that a person can become a leader, or a person can inherit leadership when he has the following traits, or when he has the following characteristics. He should have the required intelligence in order to be a leader. According to trait theory, a person who has a physical, charismatic leadership features can become a leader. In order to become leader, one should have an inner motivation or inner awareness, which is very, very important to become a leader. One should be matured enough. One should have that kind of maturity to lead, guide, and direct others in order to be a leader. One should have that vision or foresightedness or long term thinking in order to become a leader. One should be capable enough of accepting the responsibilities. One should be open minded and adaptable to change. A person who has that kind of self confidence, a person who can maintain human relations, and who is fair and objective enough. Only that kind of person can become an effective leader. So, the trait theory believes that a person who has the following traits, or the person who has the following characteristic features like intelligence, physical features, inner motivation, maturity, foresightedness, acceptance, and responsibility, such person can become a leader, or he can exercise leadership style. Next comes behavioral theory. In contrast to trait theory, behavioral theory attempts to describe leadership in terms of what leaders do rather than taking their traits into consideration. This theory believes that it is not traits that we have to take into consideration. It is the behavior of the leader which has to be taken into consideration in order to explain leadership. Leadership is known by a person's acts or the person's actions rather than his traits. According to a research strategy adopted by Michigan researchers, it is in the sense that emphasis should be placed on leaders' behavior rather than traits. It is, the research says that the major emphasis when you are describing the leadership, or when you are laying emphasis on leadership, instead of laying the emphasis on the characteristics or traits of a leader, you need to pay emphasis on the behavior of leader, because behavior is something which can be measured, traits is something which cannot be measured. Next, when we are talking about this behavioral theories, according to behavioral theory, proposing that specific behavior differentiate leaders from non-leaders. Leaders behave in a specific manners. Followers, in a group or in a team, you can clearly distinguish. You can clearly identify a leader because he behaves in a specific manner, which makes him distinctive, or which makes him differentive from others. When you are describing the leadership, or when you are laying emphasis on leadership, you need to take into consideration the patterns of actions used by different individuals to define that leadership. Like autocratic leaders, we have learned about autocratic, democratic, laissez-faire style of leaderships. In each style, each leader behaves in a particular manner. So you need to identify those patterns in order to identify the leadership styles. Behavioral theory believes in employee centered rather than task centered. Next is contingency theory. According to contingency theory, leaders effectiveness is contingent, or leaders effectiveness is wavering, in the sense whether or not their leadership style suits to a particular situation or not cannot be determined earlier, right? See, a leadership style is something which changes from, which should be different, which should be varying from situation to situation. According to this theory, an individual can become an effective leader in one circumstances, whereas he can be ineffective in the other one. So if you want to become a productive leader, one should examine each situation, decide if the leadership style will be effective in that situation or not. In most cases, one should be self-aware, one should be objective enough and adaptable enough to situation. See, all the time you cannot use the same leadership style in all the situations. So your leadership style should analyze the situation, should analyze whether your leadership style will suit in that situation or not, and then go ahead with that situation. Next comes situational leadership theory. Situational leadership theory suggests that there is no single leadership style which can be considered as best. It depends on which type of leadership or which type of strategy are best suited to the task. According to situation theory, a leadership style was developed by Blanchard Paul Harshley in the year 1980, right, which talks about adaptation of leadership style to employ to adapt employees to a fixed leadership style. Whenever a leader changes his style according to situation, we call it as situation leadership. Now, when we are talking about situational leadership style, which was developed by Dr. Paul Hasley and Kenneth Blanchard, who is an author of 1 Minute Manager, he suggested there are four primary leadership styles. One is telling, one is selling. Telling style, the leader provides specific support, guidance, and close supervision. The leader tells his followers what to be done, what not to be done. He directs their action by communicating. The leaders are closely involved and uses a top-down approach. That is everything. When the leader tells, only the follower will follow it. Whereas when it comes to selling style, in this style, the leader accepts the input from the group members, encourages them to submit their ideas and suggestions. These leaders sell their concept to the group and aim to recruit their cooperation through debate and collaboration so that they can come to a consensus or a decision. In participating style or supporting style, the leaders offer less direction, they give less decision, they involve themselves in less decision making and leave the decision to others. Here they believe in the abilities of their followers, or they trust the abilities of the group members and expect them to do their appropriate choices. And delegating style, the leaders limit their participation, leave most of the responsibilities to the group, delegate the maximum responsibility to their subordinates, and gives decision making authority to their followers. So according to situation leadership, if the followers are not effective enough, you use a telling style. If the followers are effective, they can carry out their work on their own, you use a delegating style. If they range in between, you use a selling or participating style. So there is nothing called a fixed leadership style that can be used. Your leadership style should change according to your situation or according to your followers. You need to analyze what is the task, what is the nature of the group, what are the other responsibilities that they have. Accordingly, you can use a telling, selling, participating, or delegating strategy. Now, the reason why leaders fail, even after using a great leadership style, even after following the leadership theories, there are a lot of instances where a leaders fail. Now, why leaders fail is because their focus is on individuals rather than group. See, we have learned right from the beginning that leadership is a group process. Leadership is a continuous process. You need to direct, guide, or you need to motivate a group of employees in achieving the organizational objective and tasks. But when the leader's focus is on individual, not on a group, the leaders fail. Second thing is when leaders don't maintain continuous or open communication with their employees, when the communication is inconsistent or when the communication is not open or effective, there the leaders fail. When they are unable to organize or coordinate the activities of their followers, when they are unable to organize the relationships with their followers, due to this disorganization, leaders fail. Leaders fail when they are not ready or when they are not capable of taking up accountability. Leaders are the one who must accept the accountability. When leaders fail to accept that accountability, or when there is lack of accountability in the leaders fail. Leaders fail due to lack of research. See, whenever you become a leader to a group, you need to know your employees. You need to know the tasks that are assigned to them. You need to know what is the nature, behavior of the people with which you are working in. When you don't do this basic research, when you don't do this basic analysis of employees, there the leaders changes. There the leaders fail. Change is something which is inevitable. Change is something which is ever happening. So when leaders refuse to accept this change, when leaders refuse to adapt to this change, leaders fail. When leaders have a negative outlook, something which the leader should not have. See, one of the greatest characteristic trait that a leader has is foresightedness, vision, and positive thinking. When the leaders have that negative outlook or negative approach, then the leaders fail. When the leaders have unclear goals, when the leaders have unrealistic objectives, in those cases, the leaders fail. Expectations or objectives are something which must be identified, which is something which is attainable, something which can be achieved. Only such kind of expectations can be maintained. So when there are some unrealistic expectations, when there are some unrealistic goals that are set, in those cases, the leaders fail. Now, there is a variation between successful leader and effective leader. There's a lot of difference between successful and effective leaders. For a successful leader, the major focus is on results, whereas for an effective leader, the major emphasis or focus is on people. Successful leaders believe in results, whereas effective leaders believe or trust their employees. Now, successful leaders are people who use a commanding or top-down approach, that is, they use an autocratic leadership style, whereas an effective leaders are one who use a collaborative or inclusive approach in which you talk about democratic leadership style. When we talk about successful leaders, the successful leader's vision is on short-term goals, whereas an effective leader's vision is on achieving long-term goals. Successful leaders are charismatic and risk-taking, whereas effective leaders are humble and risk-aware. When it comes to decision making, successful leaders make quick and bold decisions, whereas when it comes to effective leaders, they take well considered or inclusive decisions. When talking about successful leaders, the advantages of successful leaders are they show rapid results, they have high visibility, they have bold visions, and strongly motivate the employees. When it comes to effective leaders, the advantages with effective leaders are they are sustainably success, they believe in establishing positive work environment, they take inclusive decision making, and they assess the risk balancingly. When it comes to disadvantages of successful leadership, They believe in short-term focusing, they burn out risk, there is limited collaboration or cooperation from the employees, overemphasis on personal brand. Whereas effective leaders, the disadvantages are the progress is slow, there is less visibility or impact, and perceived lack of urgency. There is no, you cannot make decisions urgently under effective leadership. Successful leadership or successful leader can be used for crisis management. You can use them for establishing startups, high stake projects, or competitive industries. Whereas you can use effective leadership styles for long term growth, knowledge based industries. When you want to retain the employees or diverse team, you can use the effective leaders. Here ends the leadership. Next comes motivation. See, we have learned in leadership that one of the characteristic traits that a leader needs to have is motivating the employees. Now, here comes the question, what is motivation? See, motivation is a psychological process in which up through which a person acts or behaves through a particular task or activity from start to completion. Motivation is a driving force. Motivation is something which pushes an employee to behave in a particular way at a point in time. See, in an organization, you want to achieve a higher position, you are expected to behave in a particular way. So achieving that highest position is your motivation, which drives you, which pushes you to behave in a particular way at point of time. When a person experiences motivation in a positive way, he feels happy, energetic, enthusiastic, and he is self-driven to achieve something or to perform the work. But when a person experiences negative motivation, he is demoralized, he is sad, he is lazy or lethargic, he is pessimistic, which leads to low productivity or low performance. When we are talking about motivation, it is an inner burning passion which is caused by the needs, wants, and desires, which forces an employee to exert his physical and mental energy to achieve the desired outcome. See, motivation is something which pulls you, motivation is something which drives you, motivation is something which propels you to do certain physical and mental challenges in order to achieve something. It is something which is goal oriented behavior, right? People are motivated when they expect that the course of action would lead to the attainment of goal, or they are valued, or they will reward, or they are satisfied with their wants and needs. Now, when we are talking about motivation, motivation is important because it is a psychological factor which drives an employee towards the work, which drives an employee to achieve his ambition, which drives an employee to do a certain work. A person with high level of motivation will do good quality work. He will help others. He will spread his energy, focus on achieving the goals. Whereas a person with negative energy demotivates others, and he will create a negative work environment. It is important human factor in an individual's person's and professional life. Motivation is something which helps in achieving your personal and professional goals in any field, whether it is business, sports, politics, or entrepreneurship. It is motivation which drives an employee. Motivation is important because it is a desire of an individual to work towards a motive, which can be a certain task, right? Whenever you're talking it in terms of business, good motivation helps an employee to earn important managerial skills like leadership, team management, time management, decision making, communication, etc. Well, motivation is triggered by a psychological tension that comes due to unfulfilled needs and drives an individual to buy something. Motivation is very important. When we talk about motivation, there are three components in a motivation. One is direction, that is what a person is trying to do. The second component of motivation is effort, how hard a person is trying to achieve it, and persistence, how long a person keeps on trying. So these three components make up a motivation, that is what a person is trying to do, how hard a person is trying to do, and how long a person keeps on trying. These three things will determine a person's motivation. Now, talking about types of motivation, there are four different types of motivations. You have intrinsic motivation, we have extrinsic motivation, we have positive motivation, we have negative motivation. Now, when we are talking about intrinsic motivation, this type of motivation comes from within a person to do a task or achieve a particular goal. A person with intrinsic motivation, he is self-driven. Internally, he wants to do something. It comes with social acceptance, it comes with desire to achieve things, it comes in order to satisfy the biological needs. We exhibit intrinsic motivation. Next is extrinsic motivation. This type of motivation drives an individual due to external forces or parameters, like an organization motivates an employee, or a leader motivates an employee in terms of financial bonus, in terms of rewards, in terms of appreciation, promotion, punishment, demotion, anything, any external factor which motivates an employee, we call it as an extrinsic motivation. Positive motivation is something where an employee is motivated by uh, by rewarding him, right? This type of motivation comes with rewards which are monetary benefits or promotion, which drives an employee to carry out a certain work harder. Negative motivation, it comes with a it comes with a employee who has a fear that he would get either demotion, or his benefits will be reduced, or he will be withdrawn merits. Whenever fear and punishment is used in order to motivate an employee, we call it as a negative motivation. For every individual, all types are interlinked based on which he or she takes an action. The result of a behavior is the result of motivation. Now, there are four major theories of motivation. We have Maslow's theory of hierarchical needs. We have Herzberg's two-factor theory. We have Alderferg's ERG theory and process theory. Coming to Maslow's hierarchical theory, this is one of the well-known motivational theory. This theory of hierarchical needs was published by a psychologist called Abraham Maslow in his paper, A Theory of Human Motivation, which was published in the year 1943. Now, according to Maslow's theory of hierarchical needs, human needs, wants, or desires are classified as a five-tier pyramid. The five tiers are psychological needs, physiological needs, safety and security needs, love and belonging needs, safe esteem needs, and self-actualization needs. According to Maslow's theory of hierarchical needs, human needs are arranged in a hierarchy with physiological or survival needs at the bottom, and the most creative and intellectual oriented self-actualization needs are placed at the top. Maslow argues that survival needs must be satisfied before the individual can satisfy the higher needs. Higher needs becomes increasingly psychological and long-term rather than physiological and short-term needs, as in the lower survival needs. According to Maslow, our basic needs is for human survival, which requires food, drink, shelter, clothing, etc. So first, a human being tries to satisfy his individual physiological needs. Once his physiological needs are satisfied, he moves to the next level, that is safety and security needs. Now, safety and security needs can be fulfilled by the, see, individual first level, physiological level tries to fulfill his physiological needs first. That is, he wants food, shelter, what do you call as water, in order to survive. So he fulfills that psychological needs. Once the physiological needs are fulfilled, next he goes to the safety needs. Safety needs are the needs which can be fulfilled by the family and society. Safety needs are something which comes only after the fulfilling of physiological needs. Now, for example, emotional security. health, employment, property, family, social ability, everything, well-beingness, everything is something which comes under safety and security needs. After the safety and security needs are fulfilled, the third level of human needs comes into picture, that is love and belongingness needs. When it comes to love and belongingness needs, it refers to humans emotional need for interpersonal relationships, connectedness, and being a part of group. This need is especially strong in childhood and can override the need of safety when witnessed in abusive parents. Now, the examples of belongingness needs are friendship, intimacy, trust, acceptance, receiving and giving affection, love, etc. Once this love and belonging needs are fulfilled, the next needs that arise are esteem needs. Esteem needs are the fourth level in Maslow's hierarchical needs and includes self-worth, accomplishment, and respects. Maslow classified esteem needs as esteem for oneself and the desire for reputation or respect from others. Esteem represents human desire to be accepted and valued by others. See, once our love and belongingness needs are fulfilled, we want others to recognize us. We want others to repute us, or we want others to accept us. So, these esteem needs are fulfilled, right? Then the person who would move to the attainment of next needs, that is self-actualization needs. These are the highest level needs in Maslow's hierarchy and refers to the realization of person's potential, self-fulfillment, seeking personal growth, and peak experience. This is the highest level of needs, refers to what a person's full potential is. This level has a desire to accomplish everything that one can and to become everything one is capable of becoming. See, according to Maslow, every person will go from start with physiological needs. Once the needs are fulfilled, he go to safety needs. Once those needs are fulfilled, he wants love and belonging needs to be fulfilled. After that, one wants to achieve the self-esteem needs. Once everything is achieved, he wants to achieve the self-actualization needs. He wants to be creative. He wants to be accepted. He wants to be potential. He wants to have a purpose for his life. So, according to Maslow, a human being gets motivated because of his needs. Once one kind of needs are satisfied, he tries to attain the other needs. Next comes Herzberg's two-factor theory. In 1959, Herzberg, a behavioral scientist, proposed something called as a two-factor theory, or it is also called as a motivation hygiene theory. Here, according to Herzberg, there are some job factors which result in satisfaction, and there are some job factors which prevent dissatisfaction. So, according to Herzberg, the opposite of satisfaction is no satisfaction, or the opposite of dissatisfaction is dose satisfaction. Now, according to Herzberg's two-factor theory, Herzberg has classified job factors into two characteristics. One is hygiene factors and the other one is motivation factor. Hygiene factors are those factors which are essential for the existence of motivation at workplace. These do not lead to positive satisfaction for long term, but if these factors are absent or if these factors are not existent at workplace, then this would lead to dissatisfaction. See, they don't lead to satisfaction, but if they are not present, they will lead to dissatisfaction. Hygiene factors are those factors when provided adequately or reasonably in a job, they will pacify the employees and do not make them dissatisfaction. Now, hygiene factors are also called as dissatisfiers or maintenance factors because they are required in order to avoid the dissatisfaction. These factors describe the job, environment, or scenario. These factors are important for a person. Now, what hygiene factors are important? You need to have good relationship with peers. Companies' policies must be clear. There should be a physical workspace which is hygiene. There should be a proper working conditions. You should have a proper pay structure. Employees should be given proper status quo. There should be a job security, and there should be a supervision. If all these factors are present, this will not lead to any kind of dissatisfaction at the workplace. Apart from that, he has identified other factors called as motivational factors. According to Herzberg, the hygiene factors cannot be regarded as motivators. Motivational factors are those which lead to positive satisfaction. So he has identified certain satisfiers which he calls them as motivational factors. These factors are involved in performing the job. These factors will help the employees in receiving intrinsic rewards. Now, what are these factors? Achievement, recognition for the work done, the work itself, job advancement or career opportunities, growth opportunities that a business provides. All these are considered as motivating factors. So, every organization should have these motivating factors if you want your employees to work effectively. Next comes Alfredo's ERG theory. ERG theory was developed by an American psychologist called Adler Fur in between 1961 and 1978. This theory is based upon Maslow's theory of hierarchical needs. In Maslow's theory of hierarchical needs, we have a fire tire system, or we have a 5-level pyramid, wherein in ERG theory, it is condensed or it is brought down to 3 groups, which is called as ERG: existence, relatedness, and growth. Now, what does this ERG theory says? That is, the 5 categories of Maslow's theory are converged into 3 categories. Existence needs. Existence includes survival and physiological needs like air, water, clothing, safety, affection, etc. This equates to Maslow's first 2 levels. That is, Maslow's first 2 levels are clubbed up into one, that is existence needs. Next comes related needs. This talks about social and external esteem or relationships with family, friends, co-workers, and employees. This need recognizes human need to be seen as a part of a family or as a part of a group. This need equates to Maslow's third and fourth level. That is, first 2 are clubbed up with existence, third and fourth are clubbed up with relatedness. Next come growth needs. Growth needs are the needs which talks about the 5th level of Maslow, that is self-esteem need. Here, it means to make a person creative or productive. This need is that. According to ERG theory, the needs of persons vary from one person to one person. So, you need to identify your needs and act accordingly. Next comes process theories. The psychological and behavioral process that motivates a person to act in a particular way is called as a process theory of motivation. That is, how a person needs will affect his behavior in order to achieve a goal is related to these needs. These theories are typically used in the workplace context. There are several theories which tell how employees examine within their organization can be motivated. We have an expectancy theory, we have a goal setting theory, we have an equity theory, and we have a reinforcement theory as part of process theory. All these theories talk about only one thing, that is motivating an employee in a particular way so that the goals or targets can be achieved. What is expected out of a person is talked under expectations theory. How goals are set and achieved are talked in goal setting theory. How equity of work or activity of goals can be done, that is talked under equity theory. And reinforcement theory also talks about motivation. Next comes, what are the barriers to motivation? See, what stops an employee from being motivated is, first thing is fear of losing a job. When there is no job security, when a person experiences a fear of losing his job, he feels less motivated. Boring job, when the job is not challenging, when the job is not exciting, he feels that the job is boring. That stops an employee from being what you call as motivated in an motivated in an organization. Next, loss of faith in leadership. When the followers don't believe their leaders, when the followers don't have trust on their leaders, then that acts as a barrier to motivation. Tendency to have total obedience from subordinates. See, if you are completely obeying your subordinates, you don't have to do, you are not doing specifically any work for yourself, that acts as a barrier to motivation. Fear of change, loss of adaptability to change, you cannot adapt to change, that leads to lack of motivation, or it acts as a barrier to motivation. Poor interpersonal relationships, when there is no proper relationship between superiors and subordinates, or when there are no proper workplace relationships, that lead to poor motivation, or it acts as a barrier to motivation. And performance appraisal system, if proper performance appraisal systems are not in place, then a person experiences a barrier to motivation. Now, if you want to improve, or if you want to strategize how to motivate your employees, these are certain techniques that you need to follow. Set attainable goals. Only believe in the goals which are attainable. Provide immediate accomplishments, praise for accomplishments, recognize the efforts of people. Create an employee incentive program, that is, if an employee is working or if an employee is performing, reward him. Provide a healthy workplace balance, that is, you need to have a proper work life balance. If you want to motivate your employees, create a positive work environment. You need to have a good work environment if you want your employees to stay motivated. You need to also provide opportunities for career development and advancement. If there are opportunities, then only an employee feel motivated in an organization. Promote team collaboration. See, organizations are made up with teams. Organizations work in team. So have proper team collaborations. Give frequent feedbacks. Feedbacks are very, very important. Frequent feedbacks are very, very important. So if you want your employees to be motivated, give them frequent feedbacks. And build trust within the team, which is very, very important. If you want your employees to be motivated, if you want your employees to remain in the organization, then it is very, very important that you build that kind of trust among your team members. Thank you. That's all for today.